Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Well, today we're looking at some pretty big changes happening with AI coding assistants, specifically GitHub Copilot.
Yeah, there's been a lot of buzz lately.
Exactly. So it looks like things are getting a lot more interesting, especially for
Oh,
developers.
for sure. The biggest news has got to be Copilot going multimodal, as they're calling it, basically giving developers way more choice in the AI that's actually helping them code.
Okay, so before this, I know Copilot was mainly using OpenAI
Right.
for their models.
Right. Yeah.
So what's changed?
Well, now they're not just sticking with OpenAI, they're bringing in models from other big names, Anthropic, even Google. So developers could still go with, OpenAI's GPT-4o or their new o1 models.
Hmm.
But now they've also got options like Anthropic's Claude 3.5 Sonnet
Wow.
or Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro.
So it's almost like having like a whole team of AI specialists, like each one's got their own strengths.
Exactly. And GitHub CEO Thomas Dohmke, he was really emphasizing that, no single AI model is perfect for every situation. Developers want options, right? They want to pick the AI that works best for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, makes sense to me. I can see how one AI might be great for like Python, but then another one's better for JavaScript or something like that.
Exactly. Or maybe one's awesome for building out that basic code structure,
Right.
but another one's better at understanding like really complex instructions, or coming up with those out-of-the-box solutions.
It'll be interesting to see how developers start like experimenting, finding which model's best for each project.
Absolutely.
But speaking of these companies, what about Microsoft in all this? I mean, they put a ton of money into OpenAI, but now their own subsidiary, GitHub, is using OpenAI's competitors. That's got to be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, it's definitely a dynamic situation for sure. Microsoft's whole AI journey has been kind of a whirlwind, right?
It has.
I mean, on one hand, huge investment in OpenAI, ChatGPT being as big as it is,
Yeah.
but they're also partnering with companies like Mistral who develop their own AI models.
Hmm.
And then there's Microsoft's own AI assistant, Pi, that was developed by Mustafa Suleiman, one of DeepMind's co-founders.
Right, right. So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. Smart move, considering how fast AI is changing.
Yeah, I think so too. It looks like they're trying to diversify their AI portfolio, making sure they've got a piece of all the different parts of this world as it evolves. And GitHub is clearly leading the way there. Dumke even said they're already working with Anthropic and Google on, safety and scaling things up. And he hinted that even more model options could be coming.
Wow. So this whole multi-model approach, this could really change the game. But let's switch gears a sec and talk about another big thing from GitHub universe. GitHub Spark.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like it could be huge.
Yeah, it really could be. Spark is all about making software development more intuitive, more accessible. Imagine like building a web app just by describing what you want. Plain English, no complex code. It's like having a conversation with your computer and it just creates the app for you.
Okay, now that sounds futuristic. How does that even work?
So it uses a few things. GitHub repositories, GitHub Actions,
Okay.
and then Microsoft Azure Cosmos DB. Basically, you give it instructions in natural language.
Hmm.
And Spark uses those technologies to create real working code. Donkey said it's about, personal software creation, like letting people explore ideas and build little bots, little helpers, even if they're not expert coders.
I love that idea. Anyone can bring their software idea to life, even if they don't have a computer science degree.
And guess what? Spark also has that multi-model choice. You can use either Claude or GPT models, depending what you need.
It's all about choice and making things easier, huh? That seems to be the big theme with all these announcements.
Definitely. Speaking of making things easier, another exciting development is how Copilot's now integrated with Apple's XCode development environment.
Oh, wow. So now even Apple developers using XCode can get in on this AI coding help.
Exactly. It's a big move to bring Copilot to like a whole new audience, makes it available across more platforms.
Mm-hmm.
GitHub's really trying to make Copilot the coding assistant for everyone.
I can see that. But does it work with like Apple's own languages like Swift, Objective-C, all that?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, it's mostly focused on code completion for Swift and Objective-C.
Gotcha.
But it's still a huge first step. GitHub actually called it a major milestone in making Copilot essential for any developer, no matter what they're using.
It's like they're building this whole AI coding world,
Yeah.
reaching developers everywhere.
That's a good way to put it. And while this Xcode thing is big, there are other smaller updates to Copilot itself. Still worth talking about, though.
Okay, yeah. What else have they been working on?
Well, for one, Copilot Chat in VS Code got a big upgrade. It can now edit multiple files at the same time. Huge time saver for developers working on those big, complicated projects.
So instead of going back and forth between files, making changes by hand, Copilot can just handle it all across the entire code base.
Exactly. It's like having a super organized assistant, keeping everything consistent.
That's got to be a huge boost to, like, productivity.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And there's more. They've also added a code review feature, so Copilot can actually give feedback on your code, kind of like having, a mentor looking over your shoulder.
Wow, so it's not just writing code, it's helping you write better code.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. What kind of feedback does it give?
It'll point out things that could be problems, suggest improvements, even give insights on best practices.
So catch those errors early, learn from your mistakes. I like it.
Mm-hmm. But what really caught my eye is that you can now give Copilot Chat custom instructions. It's like you can personalize it to fit how you work.
Oh, interesting. So if my company has a certain way we name variables, or we always use a specific library, I can tell Copilot all that, and it'll adjust what it suggests.
Yep, exactly. You can tell it all about your preferred tools, coding style, even your company's own internal rules.
It's like training your own AI coding buddy.
Exactly. And you can even give it info on your company's tools, libraries, APIs, so it can suggest code that works seamlessly with your existing systems.
That takes customization to a whole new level. It's like having an AI that understands your company's specific tech.
And that's super important for making AI-assisted coding actually work in the real world. You got to bridge that gap between the general AI models and what each developer, each company actually needs.
So again, it's all about choice, making things easier and tailoring it to your needs.
You got it. And it keeps going. GitHub also said that Copilot extensions will be widely available in early 2025. These bring in integrations from tools like Atlassian, Docker, Sentry, even Stack Overflow, right into Copilot.
Wait, so we're talking project management, containerization, error tracking, even community Q&A, all in one place. That sounds amazing.
It's a big step towards making development smoother, more unified. Imagine you could debug your code right there in Copilot using live info from Sentry, or integrate tasks from Atlassian without switching apps.
And you can even build your own private extensions to connect Copilot to your company's custom tools. The possibilities are huge.
That's right. This whole idea of extensibility, it's a big trend in AI. Developers need that flexibility, that ability to customize to really make AI work for them.
Okay, so big picture. Copilot is going multimodal, integrating with XCode, getting smarter at editing multiple files, doing code review, and becoming super customizable. It's almost like it's going from a simple helper to a whole AI development platform.
Great summary. AI is becoming a core part of how we build software, and Copilot is leading the way. But the question is, what does this mean for developers?
Yeah, what skills matter most in this new AI-powered world? Should developers just ditch their keyboards and start writing prompts all day?
Well, communicating with AI will be important, for sure. But it's not about replacing those core coding skills. All the fundamentals of software development, those are still crucial.
So it's not AI replacing developers, but AI empowering them.
Exactly. AI can automate stuff, offer ideas, catch mistakes, but it's still the human developer who gets the project goals, makes the big decisions, brings the whole vision to life.
Makes sense. But this multi-model thing, choosing between different AIs, that could get confusing, right? How will developers know which one's best for a certain task?
That's a good point. It'll take some experimenting, learning, adapting. Each AI has its own strengths and weaknesses. Developers will have to figure out which one's right for each project, maybe even each specific coding task.
So it's like having a team of AI specialists, each with their own area of expertise. And the developer's the manager, figuring out who to use for what.
Great analogy. It's not just about writing code anymore. It's about understanding what each AI is good at, picking the right one for the job, and making them work together to get what you need.
Sounds like a whole new set of skills to learn.
It is. But it's also a really exciting time to be a developer. We're seeing a fundamental shift in how software is built, and there's so much potential.
I'm really curious about this custom instructions thing. It seems small, but I think it could totally change how we interact with AI.
I agree. It's moving away from AI as this generic tool and towards AI as a partner, a collaborator. You can tailor it to your needs, your style. Think about it.
Yeah.
You're basically teaching Copilot how you like to code, even your company's own best practices.
It's powerful stuff. What are some real-world examples of how this could be used?
Okay, well, let's say you're on a project, and there's a very specific way you have to name all your variables and functions. for consistency.
Right.
You can just tell Copilot, hey, on this project, we use snake case for every variable name, and it'll adjust its suggestions automatically.
That's awesome. No more fixing those tiny details every time Copilot makes a suggestion that doesn't fit the style guide.
Exactly. Saves a ton of time. Lets developers focus on the bigger picture, the more challenging stuff. And it's not just style either. You can tell Copilot about your company's tools, libraries, APIs, all that.
So like if my company has a custom logging system, something we built ourselves, I can tell Copilot about it, and it'll start suggesting code that works with that system perfectly.
Exactly. It's about making those generic AI models actually useful in a specific environment. Each developer, each company has their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
This kind of customization makes AI-assisted coding way more practical.
It feels like we're moving away from this idea of AI replacing developers. And instead, it's more like AI and developers working together as a team, each one bringing something to the table.
I think that's spot on. AI can handle the repetitive, boring tasks, so developers can focus on the things that require, creativity, problem solving, all that. Should lead to better code, faster development, and hopefully more innovative software.
That's the dream. But it also kind of makes you think, what skills are going to be most valuable for developers moving forward? It really feels like a turning point in the industry.
For sure. I mean, technical skills will always be important, but I think those soft skills, things like problem solving, critical thinking, communication, those are going to be even more valuable.
Because you need to be able to talk to these AI assistants, understand what they can do, make sense of their suggestions.
Exactly. The best developers in this new world will be the ones who can really partner with AI, use it to their advantage, but also, keep a critical eye on things.
So much to think about. We covered a ton today.
Yeah.
From all these different AI models
Yeah.
to natural language app development
Yeah.
to basically having personalized AI coding buddies.
Yeah.
It feels like we're barely scratching the surface of what's possible.
Yeah, it's an incredible time to be in this field. I can't wait to see where it goes next. Developers are so creative. I'm sure they'll find amazing new ways to use this tech.
Well, we're just about out of time for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us. And for you listening, we want to hear from you. What do you think about AI in coding? Excited? Worried? Let us know. Keep experimenting, keep coding, and until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.